This is the Sentry. He is, by all definitions, Marvel's most powerful hero. He has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. So, why have you probably never heard of him? Why isn't he the face of the MCU? And what about this guy? In the 1940s, he was the single most popular, best-selling superhero on Earth. More popular than Superman. So, why did he just disappear? Imagine being so strong, so fast, so godlike, that your own creators had to literally erase you from history. Welcome to the superhero graveyard. This isn't just a top 10 list. This is an investigation, a post-mortem. We're not here to look at silly, one-off joke characters. We are digging up the bodies of heroes who were supposed to be the next Superman, the next Spider-Man. Heroes who had it all. But who are now just ghosts? This story isn't just comic book history. It's a dark secret about how the comic book industry really works. And by the end of this, you'll understand why for every icon, there are a dozen corpses. To understand why heroes die, you have to understand how they live. The comic book industry is a brutal, cutthroat business. It's not a meritocracy. The strongest hero doesn't always win. The best-selling hero wins. And when a hero stops selling, or, even worse, when they threaten the sales of a hero who is selling, they become a problem. And in this business, problems don't get solved, they get buried. So today, we are opening 3 case files. We're going to examine 3 different heroes, 3 different causes of death. We're going to find out what really kills a superhero. Was it a villain? Or was it something far more powerful? Like a team of lawyers, a bad story, or just a new decade? This is our investigation. Our first body in the graveyard is a big one. He was the original king. You might think you know him as Shazam. But in the 1940s, he was Captain Marvel. And he wasn't just a hero, he was the hero. His comics, published by a company called Fawcett Comics, were selling 1.3 million copies an issue. To put that in perspective, Superman, over at DC Comics, was selling less. A lot less. Captain Marvel was a cultural phenomenon. He was the very first superhero to ever be adapted into a live-action movie serial, way back in 1941. He was cheerful, he was fun, he was everything kids wanted. He was, in short, on top of the world. And DC Comics was furious. They saw this cheerful, red-suited hero, with his super strength and his cape. And they saw a copycat, a rip-off, a threat. They didn't try to beat him in the comics. They took him to court. In 1941, DC Comics filed a landmark copyright infringement lawsuit against Fawcett Comics. They claimed Captain Marvel was a blatant copy of Superman. Now, this legal battle wasn't quick. It dragged on and on for 12 agonizing years. It was a war of attrition. Fawcett Comics was a smaller company. DC had deeper pockets. They bled Fawcett dry with legal fees. By the early 1950s, the entire superhero genre was in decline. Sales were down for everyone. Fawcett was hemorrhaging money on the lawsuit and losing money on the comics. They were trapped in 1953. They surrendered. They agreed to a publishing death sentence as part of the settlement. Fawcett agreed to stop printing Captain Marvel permanently, And just like that, the most popular, best-selling hero in the world vanished. He was gone. For decades, he was legally banned from appearing in print. By the time DC was finally able to purchase the rights to the character in the 1970s and reintroduce him, the world had moved on. His name was even taken by Marvel. He was a ghost. His death wasn't dramatic. He wasn't killed by Drive.Sivana. He was killed by a team of lawyers. And that is our first lesson from the graveyard. Sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't a magic word. It's a copyright claim. But what if the hero isn't killed by a rival? What if he's killed by his own creators? Let's go back to our man from the intro. Meet the Sentry. When Marvel introduced him in the year 2000, the hype was insane. The marketing was genius. He was, supposedly, Marvel's first ever hero, a hero from the 1960s, a contemporary of the Fantastic Four. That he was so powerful and so dangerous that everyone in the Marvel Universe, Reed Richards, Professor X, Doctor Strange, had to magically erase him from history. The mystery was brilliant. But then, the mystery was solved, and Marvel was left with a problem, a huge, God-powered problem. They had successfully created a character with the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. A character who was faster than light, who could resurrect himself, who was, for all intents and purposes, immortal and omnipotent. Now, try to write a story for him. How do you write a compelling Avengers story when one number can solve any crisis? Thanos, Galactus, Ultron in less than a second. You can't? Sentry isn't a character. He's a plot hole. He's a walking Deus Ex Machina. He didn't just break villains, he broke the story. You could feel the writers struggling with him. What do you do with a hero who is, literally, too good? The answer was dark. They drove him insane. They gave him a split personality, an evil entity called the Void. He became a liability, a monster. And then, during the Siege storyline, they had Thor kill him. He was too powerful to write, so they buried him. It's the ultimate creative sin. You create a god, and then you have no idea what to do with him. Sentry is the ultimate proof of our second lesson in storytelling. Absolute power is absolutely boring. Music shifts, 90s rock. Slightly cringy tone, but not all deaths are so tragic. Sometimes they're just embarrassing. This is Adam X, the extra. Yeah, just look at this guy. He had a backwards baseball cap. He had a soul patch. He had way too many pouches. And he had the extreme power too. Flash fry his enemies by igniting the oxygen in their blood, which is just a horrifying way to murder someone, right? Adam X was hyped as a huge mystery in the 90s. He was rumored to be the secret Third Summer's brother, related to Cyclops and Havoc. But here's the thing, he wasn't a character. He was a trend. He was an aesthetic. He was every bad 90s cliché rolled into one, and when that trend died, when the industry moved on from extreme and cool, Adam X just looked ridiculous. He became a joke, a walking, talking punchline for an entire decade of bad decisions. He wasn't killed by a villain. He died of cringe. So, what did our investigation find? What really kills a superhero? We've opened the graves, and we've found 3 clear causes of death. Lesson 1. The real world is deadlier than any villain. Captain Marvel was a masterpiece, but he was killed by business, by a lawsuit that bled his company dry. Lesson 2. A character without limits is a character without a story. The Sentry was a god, but he was killed by a broken narrative. He was too powerful to exist. Lesson 3. A hero built on a trend, not a heart, won't last. Adam X was extreme, but he was killed by culture. He simply went out of style. But here is the real final insight. This graveyard, it's not a failure, it's a laboratory. The industry learns from these ghosts. For every Adam X, you get a Deadpool, a character who started as a 90s cliché, but who evolved by mocking those trends. For every Sentry, you get a Hulk, a character whose power is a curse, a problem, giving him the limits he needs to be compelling. For every Captain Marvel, you get a reminder that the business is brutal and that icons can be killed. These failures aren't just trivia. They are the essential, forgotten lessons that Marvel and DC needed to learn to build the icons we love today. The superhero graveyard is full. The door is always open. It's a ruthless place, a reminder that even the most powerful heroes can be killed by a bad story, a bad lawsuit, or just a bad haircut. But that's just our investigation. What about you? Which forgotten hero do you think deserves to be resurrected from the graveyard? Let me know your pick in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe and ring that bell for more investigations into the secret history of comics. Thanks for watching.